Hey, WallyCam back here, Blackmagic, you know this guy, Grant Petty. He releases about 100 products every year. Gets us excited.
Yeah, a lot of work.
How long you been doing this now? How
Actually, it's 20 years. I started
Really?
working in 1995. I used to work at a post-production company in Singapore called VHQ, and I was a telecine engineer mostly. And so I kind of wanted to. I think the thing at the time was interesting to me is that the systems were becoming more like, they were computer-based, right? There was editing on computers,
right?
But they weren't treating it as a computer. They were making a computer into a big system. And I thought that was strange. I thought, well, can't we just plug a card into this and that will give us the I/O bit? We use a bit of software for doing editing or design or paint, and we can actually build a whole lot of different systems, but just on a computer. Because a lot of the products were kind of boxes. Like Paintbox was a box, right?
Right.
But Photoshop was a paint system, so why can't we use Photoshop? So that was I came back to try and build a frame buffer card, and then and the idea was to build it uncompressed with SDI, so it was best quality.
Sure.
And I said to the guys, all we need to do now is make it go faster to the kind of motion.
Okay.
So it kind of was like a bit of a vague idea at the time. It wasn't like I came back and go, I'm going to, revolutionize anything or even make anything affordable or anything like that. It was just like, I just want this to be possible.
Right.
Because we bought I think it was a Flame at the time. It was like over $1 million.
Flame.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was great quality. I mean, it was a very powerful system, but it was a lot of money. So I thought, well, a bit of computer could do this. And if we just could get the video in and out, that's the thing. That was the trick. And so that's where it kind of started. And now it's like giant pictures of trains.
Yeah.
Over there. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? The textures of the
It's
train.
a gorgeous picture.
Right.
I do have a question. Wait a minute, I'm going to bring this around. So, it seems like a lot of your models look like Marco Solorio. Look at that guy right there in the middle. So what's the deal? Why does everybody look like Marco?
It is true.
See? And I would notice when you were flipping through all the pictures the other day,
what it'll be.
look at this guy up here. It looks kind of like Marco Solorio. Why do all of your models look like Marco?
What's interesting you notice this year is everyone's got awesome hair. Like there's one thing I noticed about the models this year is everyone has like incredible hair. And so I think this is the year of the hair when it comes to us. So it's kind of funny.
So it's
I think what we do is
Marco.
we kind of, I think the guy we kind of like essentially just look at a cross section of the photos of the booth and we go, kind of what do the guys look like that in our industry? So we kind of tend to try and do that, but some products are different to others. So you kind of think you have different models. But the other thing too is that we can actually find it hard to get certain models. Like some models can't act. So they don't know how to stand with a product. Like you can say to a guy, okay, here's a camera. Can you hold this camera up? And they can't hold it. Because they're kind of used to...
doing a pretty good job.
Well, they're kind of used to sort of standing there like, kind of like just with some clothes or something. So you get that or, but you really want to show a workflow. Like, like if you look at that big train thing here, you kind of wanted to show what hand-holding the camera was like. So you kind of got to find some guys that can hand-hold. So I noticed we've kind of used the same models a few times because they're, like literally we've literally found models that don't know how to hold a camera. Like they just can't hold it. But then you get other models like, oh yeah, I'm actually a camera person, I know you guys, and then it's immediately pick up the camera and they can hold it right because they know enough about what to do. The tough bit is trying to find models that look right, I guess, but then they've got to know a bit about photography and that to be able to hold the camera right. Because it really is weird. Like it really is. Certain people just don't know how to hold a camera.
How do you people not know how to hold a camera?
Well, they kind of stand with it and they're kind of like, I don't know kind of what to do. I mean, it sounds weird, but that's what we've
Which
found,
is why they're actors in front of the camera, not behind. So, and speaking of cameras...
there's a bit of that,
Right.
That's true,
So, just like we don't know what to do in front of it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Obviously, right? Look at us.
If you watched my press conference, you'll know that. A whole lot of
the
press
conference.
So I'm like, click.
I know.
I worked out the problem. I was standing between the clicker and the receiver. So when I turned around, so I got scared and I stand next to the computer because I was going to sort of walk in and show the cameras, but I kind of got scared, so I walked over there and was just
You did a good
at
job. We didn't know. We had no idea anything was going on.
Yeah, I was kind of like, is this light going to change? I'm not sure.
But since you're talking about cameras, these are actually, this was my most exciting moment with these guys back here. The smaller cameras, because as a lifestyle producer, I immediately started thinking cooking show and being able to use these cameras with that. What's the inspiration on those?
I can't say who it was because, private, but there was a certain customer of ours who was using these cameras, like, using our pocket cameras for doing sort of, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. I can't really decide what they're doing. You'll immediately know who they are.
Okay.
They're doing like a big show.
Okay.
And so we were kind of like thinking, I was thinking they're using pockets for this. A lot of people are using pocket camera for this.
So they were just using them in a weird way that maybe
they're
you
like,
could do it
mounting them
better.
in cars. They're mounting them in, drones and all that. And a lot of people were doing that. And the pocket camera was really a handheld camera.
Right.
The pocket camera had to do a few things. It had to be small.
Right.
It had to be handheld. But it also had to not look like a film camera.
Okay.
So it looks like you're taking a photo. So that's kind of what we wanted to do with that, because that didn't exist. So that's why we built that. But then people are using it for everything else.
Sure.
So I thought, okay, what happens if we designed a camera for remote use? So we put the buttons on the front, not the back.
Okay.
Because the problem with the pocket camera is the screen's on the back. So if you mount that up on a car, you can't get your head around.
Oh,
so you kind of want to see it from the front, and you want to hit a record button on the front, see the record light on the front, you go, okay, I'm recording, the actor can do that, then they do their scene. So that was like the first need we had. Because then the second need was, how can I remote control it really cheaply when it's actually literally, it could be in a drone or it could be hanging from a lighting grid or something like that.
Sure.
So I thought, well, the way to do that would be to use a model aircraft remote control channels and do it that way. And there's S-Bus and PWM. The PWM is the analog channels, and there's a wire for each channel. But S-Bus is like a bus. There's 18 channels on the one wire, so that's much better. It's a bit more modern. I think they were a little more expensive to get those ones, and they're all cheap. These
they're all
things.
cheap. So
that was kind of the micro cinema camera reason for building it. And that was good. But when I saw the design of it, I thought, when you really look at this thing, you realise what an awesome studio camera to make. Because you strip out all the refrigeration for the sensor, put a normal video sensor in it, and you pull out the recorder and the ProRes and all that stuff. Then what you've got left is really a great design. I could put a studio camera in, because the studio cameras are just video sensors. They don't need cooling. They don't require refrigeration to get the dynamic range, because they're just a normal dynamic range. So that means I can put Ultra HD in it, which is very different. So it's a very different camera. In fact, the control on the side is got pan tilt zoom out. And it's also B4 lens control on there as well. So you could actually put a broadcast lens on it with an adapter, and there's a little regulator point for the control. So it's kind of cool. And then we can put SDI in and out. And we put the color corrector in as well. We can do all the switcher control stuff there as well. So that'd be cool.
Sweet.
So
I love that it's built with the remote control.
Yeah, it's exactly like the studio camera without the screen.
Yeah.
And even there's a little iPhone socket on the side. Like a little iPhone headset type thing on the side.
Oh yeah.
That actually doesn't have the labeling on it. I think that must be a prototype dummy.
Sure.
So what that is it's a headphone socket, but it's got the iPhone microphone.
Okay.
So you can actually do talkback down to the switcher guide.
No way.
And the light on the front is actually the on-air. That's the on-air light. It's a tally light. So the light's a bit different to like the micro camera, which is a record light. This one comes on when it's on air. So
sweet.
So you can kind of treat it as a camera head, and you can sort of build out a studio camera if you want, or you can just use it as a remote camera. Because I was thinking, what happens if you wanted it to kind of be like hidden behind a coffee tin, or in different locations? Because if you can put more, like you look at our switches, even the $2,500 one's got 10 inputs. If you can add a few more cameras, you can get a few more views, and it really suddenly adds a lot of drama and a lot of like a lot more kind of. It's a much more like exciting production because you've got more views. Like when you got two cameras, it's much better than one. One is really just kind of like you could have the wide shot, I guess. When you got two, you can have it close and wide. Then you get three, and you can kind of have a different angle or a different view. And if you can get 4, 5, or 6, I mean, that really suddenly becomes a really professional, dramatic, really nice production.
And for me, it's cooking show. I can have my host. I can have the stove covered. I can have everything covered in one shot. So we were talking earlier. You almost feel like this is Da Vinci 1 because it feels like it's the first one that's really got your stamp on it.
Yeah, when you kind of release the software versions, you go, I wish I could have, the menus are not quite aligned perfectly there, and I mean, there's a feature situation of just wanting to be able to, get the whole workflow done. But the thing I really love about, there's tons of editing power and everything, just Da Vinci, of course. I mean, there's multicam and third-party audio plugins, and you can even do motion paths on the screen and do, like splines and the timeline. I mean, it's just awesome, but it's the finessing of the UI that I really am most proud of in a way. I mean, there's the little things, like being able to just drop media from the Finder straight into the timeline. These little things that Da Vinci didn't do, and they were quite frustrating. Like just little tiny things, you can't demo them. But they're like really important just from a usability point of view, know.
Yeah.
But the finessing of the UI now, I mean, it's so. We've spent so much time, and there's almost 100 people worked on this release of DaVinci.
Wow.
And so it's really nice. I mean, I feel like we've done more in the last year than we did in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's really, and I feel like in some ways, you know, I guess I'm really excited. What would be the words used? I'm kind of a bit like, I probably
it's Wednesday afternoon, people.
Yeah, it's not even the end of the week yet. I think it's awesome, and that to me is what it should be.
Yeah.
Anything less than that is like, it's nice, but it would be good if it had this. It'd be nice if it could. I feel like it's really good now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's there's always more to add, and we got
a
head full of stuff that we couldn't do that we would have loved to put in there, and we'll just keep adding. But I feel like it's really nice now. Like it's just, you look at it and you really just stare at it and you're really proud of it.
Good.
And you're proud of all the guys that worked on it, and you just like feel like really energized by that. It's exciting. Like you feel like you can be proud, and everyone who sees it's going to be excited by it. So that's the thing, right? You know, like when I was a post-production engineer, and you'd do some cool stuff and really, you know, get the builders in, you'd be working a room and getting it really nice.
Right.
And the editors and that would come in and they'd see the, you know, the sort of stuff finished, and because you'd all worked on the ideas of how you're going to do it.
Right.
Then you'd done it, and we were all be happy that it, oh wow, the sofas look really great, they've come in now, and the wood paneling sort of worked well, and the cables and everything's really hidden.
Right.
And you'd be thrilled about that.
Right.
I really kind of feel like that with DaVinci now. It just feels like when you've finished an edit suite and it's really come up well. It's very much like that, you know. So it's really nice now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not explaining this very well. And
no. Actually, I think that's brilliant because it's like it's your baby now. Like you own it. It's yours.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I can see that my exposure's weird, but I'm going to fix that in post. Don't you all worry. You know,
hides wrinkles.
I know. Well, see, I'm getting rid of all that. You know, your lighting is so beautiful here.
It's quite bright, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. We were just talking about this earlier, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you're really the only nameplate that I can think of that we can go start to finish on a project now. That's actually kind of cool. You know, cameras, editing, finish, even going to broadcast.
Yeah, it's kind of been unintended because I guess you do one thing and then everyone goes, oh, great, but we've got a problem here, and you go, oh, okay, well, we'll solve that.
Yeah.
And you just really keep solving problems. And it's funny because, you know, like everyone, before you come to the show, everyone's, like, I'm really nervous when I come to the show because I don't know if we've got it all right. And everyone's like, oh, these products are great, But, you know, we've been working with them sometimes for a couple of years, working towards it. And you worry that, like, someone comes up and goes, that's great, but what about X? And you think, how could you be so stupid to have forgotten that? Because the reality is, smart people come to the NAB, right? They're our people, right? They're
exactly.
Very smart. Like, this is not like consumers where they go and buy milk or something. They just do lifestyle ads of people running on a beach drinking milk and everyone's cool. Exactly. Do that. Exactly. These are smart people, right? If you don't get it right, they're going to come and tear you apart. Right. As far as they're just going to pick things apart. So I'm always very nervous that, you know, we've forgotten something really big on a product, and you know that when we announce stuff at this show, it's all in production already, right? We're building these things, the tooling's underway. To change something at this late stage is actually quite tough. Yeah. Because it's all underway, you know. Because I mean, the lead times are 25 weeks, right? So we're already running to get July or whatever ship dates we're doing. So you're always nervous that you're going to have forgotten something, and everyone's going to come up. So when everyone's happy and they're like, oh, these are great ideas, and you've kind of done a few extra things that people didn't expect, it's a huge relief because you're like, because you feel like you're kind of reporting to the boss, right? And then you're going to get evaluated, and if you don't get it right, remember the original cinema camera, right? Everyone was really excited about it, but a whole lot of other people, it's a horrible shape. I'm like, but I'm thinking in my mind, well, it's for handheld, because that was the thing that didn't exist. We needed a handheld sort of DSLR thing, but it wasn't a DSLR. It was designed for digital film, but it was a DSLR shape. And that's kind of what I was building, but everyone's like, but they were seeing it as just a camera, and it should be that shape. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you're right. There's not. That's not wrong. It's just that. But at the time, I think we were known. Well, they kind of knew us as the one camera we had, and then of course, you know, you get a chance to do the other stuff, and everyone knows kind of, you know, who you are again, and you know. So it's kind of funny, you know. But you're always nervous about that one thing you might have missed. So,
it keeps you up at night.
Yeah, it does a bit. Like you think, oh God, I hope I don't. Well, I hope that everyone likes it.
Well, everybody certainly is talking about Blackmagic like crazy out here. Oh, look. See? Look. Marco. That's hysterical. He's right there. So see what I mean? See. I think unconsciously you're making all of your folks Marco.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. So this is WallyCam with Grant, and have a good show, everybody.